The air. College football is back. It's been a busy day and wouldn't want to be anywhere else. College Station, Texas, as the 6th-ranked Aggies get set to take on Kent State, and it's all coming your way right here on ESPNU. And welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Dr. Pepper, as Kent State comes a-calling on the home-standing Texas A&M Aggies, and a capacity crowd or close to it on hand on this warm, hot night, as Texas A&M is looking to improve on what was a fantastic finish in 2020, having won 8 straight, and here they come under their leader, now in his 4th year, Jimbo Fisher. Glad you could join us on ESPNU. Dave Neal alongside former #1 pick and NFL quarterback Kelly Stalford. Glad you could join us. And certainly, Kelly, there is a lot of anticipation for this Texas A&M team. And I guess it all started in the offseason. Jimbo Fisher, the expectations he placed on this group, certainly called out some folks saying that they have a chance. This could be their year to take down Alabama. So with all that being said, your thoughts about Texas A&M as they get set to kick off 2021?
First of all, Jimbo doesn't sound off unless he has a reason to. And he was brought here for this purpose. They were on the precipice a year ago, right? Just a little bit of finish and they could have gotten there, but now that last ascent up the top is going to be probably the most difficult, and Jimbo Fisher has to do it with a new quarterback. Kellen Mond is on a roster in the NFL, and you turn the page to a newbie in Haynes King. Haynes King has a completely different skill set. He's a willing runner. Mond was a reluctant runner. Dynamic, legitimate speed. How does Jimbo Fisher incorporate this young man's skill set into his play calling? We get to witness that tonight.
Well, certainly Haynes King won that job, announced, about a week ago that he was going to be the starter for this team in a battle with Zach Calzada, who we will more than likely see at some point tonight. But Haynes King is a guy that certainly has the legs, has the arm, and has won over his team as well. Played a couple of games last year. Matter of fact, his first appearance was against the Alabama Crimson Tide. So if you had the nerves, you got him out that game, that's for sure.
No question. And that's going to be the intriguing thing, Dave, is to see how Jimbo massages what he likes to do. And he's been around the mountain before. You don't change the playbook. Essentially, you just emphasize different pages within it, and we'll see how that looks here this evening.
Kent State won the toss. They deferred, so A&M will get the football first, and we will see Haynes King and this Texas A&M offense first. A short kick taken by Jalen Preston around the 20-yard line. So Haynes King will grab the football first, and this is not going to be just a show about Haynes King. There are some weapons offensively, certainly in the tailback position. He's got some talented wide receivers, and the other thing we'll look at tonight is this offensive line that will be protecting this young quarterback.
And I think that's exactly why you're going to see a heavy dose of run early. You have a young quarterback. You have 4 new guys up front that have had sparing playing time in their careers. And so the way that you get those guys up front loosened up is to run the ball early.
6'3", 200-pounder out of Longview, Texas, and Longview High School will line up in the shotgun on 1st down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Handoff right side goes to Spiller, big hole, and he's out over the 30 to the 32-yard line. Give him 7.5, 8 yards, and that's a guy they can certainly lean on. The junior tailback averaged over 100 yards per game last season.
Yeah, and the theme, Dave, is the more you give the ball to 28, the better you are. I think that magical touch number is somewhere around 13 and beyond, and so you know that Jimbo Fisher is very aware of that.
So on 2nd down and short, King will keep it near side. Here's a little pitch. That one goes to Aniyah Smith. Breaks a tackle out over the 40. 1st down at the 41-yard line.
So you have the running back Spiller, who's a kind of a speed guy, but really all around. He creates his own touches in that run game. And then you have Anaya Smith that was at running back out of necessity a little bit last year. And then you have King, an option quarterback. You have the dive inside to your dynamic running back, and then you pitch it to a guy that can end up in the end zone at any time.
Swings it out to Spiller. He has a first down inside Kent State territory. Elvis Hines pushes him out of bounds, but a gain of 12.
So the run game is what Jimbo Fisher wants to do anyway. And he's going to distribute the football, but in the pass game, it's going to be in controlled passes just like this, where there essentially isn't a read. It's just to bounce it out to Spiller on the swing screen and let him get what he can and get out of bounds.
Another first down, inside handoff, Spiller, big hole, breaks a tackle, breaks two. Inside the 30, down to the 27, give him 20 more yards.
Well, Kent State is really breaking in a new defense, a 3-3-5, and it's a lot of movement. And Jimbo told us yesterday, the way that you handle that for your offensive line and the young quarterback, you run right at that movement and kind of take the starch out of that, and that's exactly what we're seeing on this first drive.
Started back at the Texas A&M 25-yard line. Another first down. Stay on the ground. This time they go with Anaya Smith. Flag comes down around the 30-yard line. That is right in the area of holding. See if that doesn't push Texas A&M back a little bit.
Holding, number 55, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
One of the best offensive linemen in the country playing right tackle gets called for the hold, and this is just a really good situational time in this early in this game for their young quarterback. When you have to overcome adversity for the first time, we'll see how the youngster Haynes King responds right here.
So that'll push the ball back to the 38-yard line. First down and 20. 4 receiver look, 1 to the near side, 3 to the top of your screen. They will go to the top. Quick hit to Weidermeyer, the tight end, and he is stuffed. No gain on the play. Well done, well read by the Golden Flashes. Is that Richardson down? It might be 17.
I believe you're right. He was the one in on the tackle and hit the big tight end. Weidermeyer is 255 pounds on a quick screen. Not easy to get him on the ground.
As Wheezy Richardson slow to get up, we'll step aside for a moment here in College Station, Texas. No offense, Kelly Stauffer, but glad to have a super athlete on board with us the rest of the year. Andrea Carter joins us on the sidelines, a former Tennessee Lady Vol hoopster. And Andrea, welcome aboard.
So happy to be here, Dave. Thank you. Texas A&M is celebrating the centennial anniversary of the 12th man. Guys, in 1922, E. King Gill was a student in the press box. He was called down to the sidelines to put on a uniform just in case he was needed, and that is what the 12th man represents. They stand the entire game to cheer on their team. Also, one walk-on player every season wears the number 12. This year, guys, it is Connor Choate, the deep snapper, and he's excited.
Well, the way this drive is going, Dre, I don't know that we're going to see Mr. Choate. Maybe we'll see at the end of the drive. Snaps on the punts and extra points. They'll go near side. Caleb Chapman on a second down and 21. They'll get the ball to the 25-yard line, a gain of 14.
And a really good decision. Watch King's eyes. Looks down the field, has 2 go routes down the middle of the field, and then Chapman is the outlet outside. Remember what we're trying to do here. The drive started with a penalty. And so the youngster has to now manage a drive, overcome that penalty, get behind in the sticks, and get in third and way more manageable is exactly how you do that.
They need to get inside the 18-yard line. Spiller in the backfield. He'll stay in the block. Pressure comes. Underneath route. Pass is caught there by Chase Lane, and he'll have the first down.
Dave, I really like how King stepped up in the face of that edge pressure. You have to manipulate the pocket sometimes, especially in this league. buy yourself a little bit of time, but don't take your eyes off of what's happening down the field. Chase Lane was coming on that crosser. King just needed time to get there.
First down and 10 from the 11. Anaya Smith lines up in the near side slot. They'll hand it off to Spiller. Little stutter step wrapped up there around the 10. Falls to the 9-yard line. So give him a couple when it's all said and done.
So Dave, you talked about this. King is in pretty good hands. He has skill around him at the running back position, some playmakers, Anaya Smith, kind of that X factor, one of the best tight ends in the country, and Weidermeyer. It's all about that offensive line. It's about those guys developing chemistry and continuity early until October 9th when Alabama comes a knocking on this place.
They'll fake it to Spiller, come back across the middle to Weidermeyer, and he catches it around the 5. Dean Clark makes another tackle out of that Kent State secondary, but Texas A&M knocking on that door. It'll be third down and about 3.5, maybe 4. They need to get it to right about the 1-yard line.
And deep in the money zone, as Texas A&M is right here, Jimbo Fisher, who is head coach and play caller, as we know, he might kind of break out the shiny new toy in Haynes King. Dual threat guy, works down here deep in the red zone.
Coming near side, passes caught. Anaya Smith, touchdown.
Anaya Smith does a great job. He starts inside, he sees the clutter, he bounces it back out to that space, and then the young quarterback, Haynes King, got there on time. That's the important thing. Where were his eyes, where were the head, and then you find your guy on time. All really good stuff on this drive.
Well, a drive that started back at the 25-yard line ends on this touchdown pass from Haynes King. Youngster looking sharp in his opening drive.
And in part by Marathon, driven forward.
Well, back in 2001, Texas A&M honored those who lost their life in the 9/11 attacks by dressing this stadium in red, white, and blue. It was an amazing sight. 20 years later, the students and the fans asked to do the same, and they have done exactly that and then some. It is an amazing spectacle. The money raised from selling these T-shirts goes to some of the foundations revolving around the 9/11 attacks. For those who lost their lives and the first responders, it is a spectacle to behold for sure. Nykeem Johnson on that return, the Syracuse transfer. We'll get it out just shy of the 20-yard line. Now, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the entire country is about to hit the field right now.
Number 39,
this
Texas
kid
A&M
is something
is
else.
now coming
Dustin
in as
Crum
number 6.
will
Number
lead the
39
show
is
for Kent
changed to number
State.
6
He has
for
been in
Texas
a long
A&M.
journey to get to this point, but he has certainly lived up to expectations the last year and a half.
Yeah, an experienced decision maker in an offense that's all about take what the defense gives you, and he has to get them into the right play. He has to run RPOs, run pass options well. He has to check to the proper run. He reminds me of somewhat of a slightly more athletic Bernie Kosar.
They open in a 5-receiver look, a quick slant out over the 30. That's a first down, a gain of 11. And for this Golden Flashes offense, it's all about getting that first down.
Yeah, and pace is their identity, and you'll see them go fast. 12 to 14 seconds between the snap of the ball.
Cooper in the backfield. They will hand it off to him, and he'll take it close to the 35-yard line. So a good gain on first down, but they will giddy up and go after that first down.
Yeah, it's all about a voluminous amount of plays per game. And you can see right there, UCF, we know how fast they went under Josh Heupel, who's now at Tennessee. How fast can you go, and what can you do with it?
Crum keeps it. A flag comes down at the line of scrimmage. DeMarvin Leal with a big hit on Crum.
Well, this might be called a horse collar, but the question is whether the quarterback was outside the pocket. That doesn't exist inside the pocket, but if Crum became a runner and got outside, then certainly it can be a penalty.
Personal foul, face mask, number 16, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run.
The referee, but it's the face mask variety, so the horse collar didn't matter whatsoever. But Crum is doing a run-pass option here. He pulls it, but then you see the second defender, DeMarvin Leal, gets there just as he pulls that out of the mesh point. And that's what Kent State is going to have to deal with, Dave, offensively, is the sheer amount of power, athleticism, and consistent pressure that they're going to see out of those down four linemen for Texas A&M.
Marquez Cooper comes in the backfield again, and they will hand it to him, trying to get outside and nowhere to run. Maybe, well, they're actually going to spot it right back at the line of scrimmage, perhaps.
So if you want to follow along at home in play calling, just count the numbers in the box. If there are 5 or less, you can anticipate a run like right now. 5 in the box. Now the safety's starting to come down, but 5 in the box means run for this type of system. We'll see if they can get to the right play.
It's actually a loss of a yard, so 2nd down and 11. They will run it, and ran it right into a maroon wall. No gain on the play. DeMarvin Leal and a Darius Jones converge on that tackle for the Aggies.
It's a very thick, powerful, athletic defensive line. The SEC has the best defensive line in all the land, and Kent State is going to have to deal with that. 5 in the box means run, but maybe not into this group.
Little shoulder fake coming near side. Pass is caught there by Dante Cephas, and he'll have a 1st down at Texas A&M's 38-yard line, a pickup of 12.
And you see the pace once again. The pace is to thin out the defense, simplify it, and give the quarterback a really good look.
Play fake, nowhere to go, so Crum will take it himself. Crum to the 20. He'll run out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Leon O'Neal pushes him out of bounds, but you're seeing the other aspect of what makes Dustin Crum so dangerous.
And you see that blitz off the edge, the blitz off the slot. It was a run-pass option. Crum pulled it, and it's the extended play that wasn't defended well.
Broken tackle. Cooper will take it down around the 7-yard line.
And off we go again.
They can get a 1st down inside the 2-yard line. Cooper again stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Aaron Hansford making the play.
And Crum is going to have to be a willing runner tonight. We saw that impromptu run. That was an extended play. It was a run-pass option. He went out the back door for various reasons. A lot of bells and whistles deep inside the red zone for Kent State.
Crum keeps it and is slammed to the ground. Shamar Turner making the play, the freshman out of DeSoto, Texas.
So it's a run-pass option, and Crum got the pass look, but the bottom line is the pressure from that defensive line tonight is going to arrive a whole lot faster than it does playing in the Mid-American Conference.
So a 30-yard field goal. Kick is on the way. And Andrew Glass, in his first kick at the collegiate level, splits the uprights. It's 7-3 here at Bryan College Station. It is underway, and some of the things that we're, I guess, going back to a normal schedule, 8 conference games, eliminated the intra-conference transfer rule. So now teams, you guys can kind of move around at will. And one of the things I think is a hot topic, Kelly, down there at the bottom, name, image, and likeness rules take effect. And
better late than never as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it affects anything on the field. I don't think it'll affect locker rooms at all. But, hey, there are a lot of people making a lot of money off of these young men, so why not them?
This kick is going to, almost went to 10 yards. That was a tricky bounce right at the end. It goes out of bounds.
Well, obviously, Kent State does not want to kick the ball deep to the track people that Texas A&M have. There isn't any doubt about that. That looked like a bouncing ball that they intended.
Receiving team player, then went out of bounds. There is no foul for free kick out of bounds. First down.
The intention for that one was to get that bouncing ball and try to steal a possession.
Boy, that was dangerous.
It really was. When that thing starts bouncing, you never quite know exactly what's going to happen. How about that first drive by this young man? 6 for 6, overcame 1st and 20. 2 progression reads that I could see that he went to the right guy. That wasn't the first guy, by the way.
Clock to 5:22. 5:22 on the game clock.
Hey, not only that, he had 5 different receivers.
Yeah.
You've talked about spreading the football around, and he did exactly that.
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher is about distribution of the football at that position. King did a great job in drive 1 of this young career.
Well, the fortunate bounce certainly helps out Texas A&M with outstanding field position. They'll hand it off to Spiller, and he's inside the 35. He picks up a dozen yards on that carry. Matt Harmon, outside linebacker, brings him down. But in that first drive, King was exceptional, leading him on a touchdown drive that started back at the 25-yard line.
And the most impressive thing, Dave, was that holding penalty by Kenyon Green. It was 1st and 20 after they crossed the 50, and you have to overcome that with decision making, and he managed it really well. Picked up a first down, ultimately a touchdown.
Anaya Smith hurdles a couple of players, including one of his own. Run out of bounds at the 31-yard line. A gain of 3 for Anaya Smith, who they are finding many ways to get the football. Don't forget, on Monday night from Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Chick-fil-A kickoff classic number 2, Louisville and Ole Miss coming your way. No Lane Kiffin.
That is a really interesting development. Corral has to do it by himself in that one. We'll see how that goes. Malik Cunningham, the other quarterback, they may score each about 50 in that game.
Oh, Smith dropped it. Former running back who was kind of moved out to the wide receiver spot late last year, just really found a home, and they've kept him there, but you'll see the ball in his hands a lot, many different ways.
Yeah, well thrown, maybe a skosh high, but Smith was looking to come out the other side of that one and take it into the end zone, but you got to finish the play first. But you can see what Jimbo Fisher likes to do. He has guys on his play calling chart. It's about building touches. Smith is one of them. Spiller is the other one. How do we get those guys the ball and don't let us go too long without getting them the football?
So 3rd down. King over the middle, high throw. Trying to hit Chase Lane. That one's incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Let's see if Jimbo, what he wants to do here. They're kind of in that no man's land. But he is going to bring out the kicking unit. Seth Small will enter the game.
First bad throw by Haynes King. A lot of people dropping into structure that time, and you have to drop it over the second level, but have it get there before that safety closes on it. King just airmailed it.
A 49-yard field goal attempt on the way from Seth Small is good. The young man has converted 80% of his field goals over the last 2 years. That is his 30th. He is now 30 of 37 the last 2 years. And it's now a 10-3 Texas A&M advantage. And this season, every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State. So on a red, white, and blue night.
Beautiful setting.
Here at Kyle Field.
About $100,000 here, decked out like the American flag. People are excited. We're excited to have people back, by the way.
How about last night?
Oh.
In their midnight yell practice, right? They had somewhere in the neighborhood of 37,000 show up for midnight yell.
We have to get Dre in on that because she went to it. That was her first time to go to something like that, and we need to get her comments because that's a spectacle the night before. That's insane. Almost 40 grand coming to watch people yell at each other.
Nykeem Johnson, who was an ACC, all-ACC return specialist, now wearing the Kent State uniform with a nice return out near the 30. Let's go downstairs, check in with Dre.
Guys, after that last offensive possession, Kent State tight end Chris Leach came over to the sidelines and said, hey, they're not that good. Talking about Texas A&M, head coach Sean Lewis went to him and said, we're going back to you. So look for them to hit the tight end on this drive.
I think Leach must have been talking about the ability to go fast, thin it out, and get open. But the bottom line is, Dre, in this game, they have to finish in the end zone. Threes aren't going to cut it with what this young man, this new quarterback, is doing already.
Wide open near side, big catch. Marquez Cooper out to the 45-yard line, and here we go. They got that first down after a pickup of 20.
Yeah, you can't go fast if you don't get out of the starting blocks, Dave. You talked about it. The first down, and then it's snap the ball about every 10 seconds.
They'll go to the wide side of the field. Pass caught around midfield. That one goes to Johnson.
6 in the box. We're going to think about throwing it, or we can cancel one of those 6 with a run-pass option. Or 5 in the box, we're going to run it right at him. 5 in the box here, guy hanging over on the top of the screen.
Second down. Little wide receiver screen. That'll only get a couple of yards. So a third down coming up.
And this is what it comes down to in football, regardless of what your approach is offensively. You have to convert on third down, and you have to score touchdowns when you get in the red zone.
Crum. Throw was a little bit behind Cooper. It's incomplete. Now it's fourth down, and Sean Lewis wants to punt it away. And this is the danger, right, of going fast.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they didn't take a whole lot of time off the clock, and they're about to give it right back to Texas A&M.
Yeah, and Texas A&M is just lathering up and punching people in the mouth right now. So you're right. You can go fast to being down by 40 in a heartbeat if you don't convert, especially on third and very makeable at 3rd and 3.
Those 3 plays took a minute and 11. Actually, those 4 plays took a minute and 11 off the clock. That punt will hit inside the 15, scooped up there around the 9 by Smith. And so Texas A&M with a long field to work with. Well, it's the only college football game on the schedule tomorrow, and it's a good one. A 90s rivalry is rekindled. Brian Kelly and number 9 Notre Dame heading down to Doak Campbell Stadium to take on the Seminoles. Listen.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm just going to say I'm all in right now on Florida State. I'm for the moment.
You're all in. The season hasn't started yet. You tell me if you're all in about 6 weeks.
I'll tell you on Tuesday if I'm all in.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Jack Cohn, though, how about that? Jack Cohn's going to take over for Notre Dame. That's going to be interesting. I think similar systems. There's word out of Notre Dame's camp that they may go a little bit faster. We'll see how that plays out. But Mike Norvell, can he gain some traction in year 2?
I hope.
I'm hoping for you, brother. I'm hoping for you.
Handoff goes to Isaiah Spiller. It's been a long couple of years. Gain of 7.
Oh, boy. A gain of 7 on first down, handing the ball off on an inside zone to a dynamic running back in Spiller. You build those touches. We talked about it, Dave, to number 28. You build the touches to Aniyah Smith, and now you have a quarterback that you have to build touches to on the ground as well.
We haven't really even seen A-Chain yet.
A-Chain's just simply fast. He might have ran by here and we didn't see him.
That's right. Second down and 3. Spiller, first down.
So, Dave, take a look at this. When you give Isaiah Spiller the football, I believe the number is, 15 plus, you simply don't lose. So Jimbo has to revisit the Spiller column on his play calling sheet every now and again and say, okay, how do we get 28 the ball again? That's a pretty amazing graphic right there.
Spiller has 7 touches so far tonight. King stands in the pocket, lofts it up, looking for Weidermeyer, and that one will be incomplete. Jalen, the 6'5", 255-pound junior, preseason All-American. What a weapon he will be as this season unfolds.
Gerald was the safety that was on the coverage, the big tight end. There are some people in the country, Dave, that are calling Weidemeyer the maybe the best tight end in the land, kind of a true NFL guy. He's an edge blocker at almost 260 pounds. He's getting better at that phase of the game, but he's a yards after the catch guy. Balance, body control, ball skills, the 3 B's of receiving at the tight end position. That young man has all of them.
Averaged almost 5 catches a game last year. King, this is what he can do. A danger with great speed. Turns the corner, gets out over the 30 to the 33-yard line, and that'll be a Texas A&M first down after a gain of 13 to match his jersey.
But watch how King was a runner, but he was looking to throw until the very end. That's what he's going to have to build into, because Jimbo likes to throw the football. He likes to throw it to balance in the run game. So keep your throw alive until you get to that line of scrimmage, and then you got to be a willing runner. That was good stuff by the youngster.
18 plays and 8 first downs. Now 19 plays and 8 first downs for Texas A&M. And Haynes King comes from it. Tell me, how important is this, right? When you start thinking about kids at this level. Played for his dad in high school, right? His dad's a longtime high school coach in Louisiana and in Texas. How important is that in the development, especially of a quarterback?
Quick development, I think it's essential to have that pedigree, that background where he understands the game. He's been around it a ton. Plus, Jimbo will coach his quarterbacks really hard. He's demanding, he's not demeaning, but he coaches them up, and that young man can take it.
King flushed out of the pocket. Throws on the run, and Weidermeyer makes the catch. First down, Texas A&M at the 48, a 13-yard pickup.
And Kent State's Matt Harmon was getting in on the pressure, but that young man just ran away from guys that had angles on him, and that's another thing that you get with a dynamic, athletic quarterback.
So that'll be the final play of the first quarter. Haynes King, 7 of 10, 62 yards. Texas A&M leads it by a touchdown. Hey, and welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Dr. Pepper. As you're watching the SEC on ESPN, it is a hot day. Temperatures up around 100 today here in the Bryan College Station area. And it has settled down a little bit, but still a warm night.
It's settled down a little bit? Humidity. Where I come from, we don't have humidity.
It's just hot. How about that?
Justin Crum?
Yeah, he's hot.
Yeah, he's hot, except getting in the end zone. That's the one mark on that number. And King is off to a fabulous start. I love his disposition, decision-making, distributing the football, all of those things. Good start for him.
Third possession of the game for Texas A&M. A touchdown on the field goal on their first 2. King going deep. Looking for Chapman, and he can't hang on to it. No flags, so it'll be second down. Well, we got to check it. Second, let's get an update. Here's Kevin Connors.
Hey, Dave, 3 weeks ago, Zeb Nolan was a grad assistant, but because of injuries, he's been called on to quarterback South Carolina. At Acho, he's thrown 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, 3 weeks ago, he was a grad assistant. 3 months ago, he was a quarterback at North Dakota State, so this dude can play football.
29-0, they lead at the half. Meantime, Florida, 14-0 lead. Emory Jones replacing Kyle Trask has a touchdown. And how about this? No score, Georgia-Clemson. You can see it, Dave, over on ABC.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, a little surprise goose eggs between the Tigers
Interesting.
and Bulldogs.
There is a plethora of new quarterbacks in elite programs all around the country.
King going up top again, has a man right through the hands of Spiller. Would have been a tough catch. Nonetheless, it's incomplete. He thought he should have had it.
The important thing right now is Haynes King is going to the right place. He may not be throwing the right ball at times, but he's going to the right place. And that was a running back coming out on a corner route. And with running backs and tight ends in particular, you may lack the body control and the ability to catch it off your frame. So you have to really drop that into the bucket, especially a running back that's going away from you. They're not used to catching a ball at that angle.
King, one of his last 4. He started 6 of 6. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Pressure comes, they pick it up, and King sees a little bit of a hole, dancing around. Still running. He's going to run for a first down. My goodness. That is crazy. A gain of 14, but he probably ran about 40.
Yeah, initially I was going to say that King gets out of the pocket prematurely. I think he gave up on his progression, but then you can't teach this. Either God gave you this or he didn't, and this is why there are already comparisons to Johnny Manziel. Now, you got to pump the brakes on that. Yeah. Heisman Trophy winner and all those things, but oh my.
A-Chain now in the backfield behind Haynes King on first down as the ball sits right around the 38-yard line. Jimbo Fisher wants a timeout.
Before the snap, first charge timeout, Texas A&M.
First time Jimbo's kind of been on the angry meter. Back in a moment. Kelly Stauffer mentioned Johnny Manziel. Well, just to jog your memory, this was the last time A&M beat Alabama. Of course, all eyes on October of this year when those two teams will meet here. But Manziel passed for 253, rushed for 92 to upset number 1 Alabama. It went 24 of 31 through the air with 2 TDs. And we just saw a Manziel-esque performance on at least that play a moment ago from Haynes King.
Yeah, that extended play by Haynes King was exceptional, and that's why he's already drawing comparisons. It's a little too soon in my mind, but you talk about dynamic athleticism and legitimate speed once he gets into the secondary.
King tripped up and dropped right there. That'll be a loss of 4 on the play.
And watch the edge blitz coming off the bottom of the screen. That's on the young quarterback. You have to see that. He had an outlet receiver running, a running back running a swing screen coming to the right side, and that's on the young quarterback. Those are the things that Jimbo Fisher wants to see. Sometimes you block them with your eyes, you block them with outlet receivers, and King missed that one.
Good play by A.J. Mussolino, the linebacker for Kent State, to hold on to King. It's second down and long now. Haynes King. Pass is caught there by Caleb Chapman. He just sat down right in that zone, makes a nice catch. A gain of 13.
Chapman almost looks like a tight end as A&M is fixing to go fast, but this ball comes out on time.
On third down and about a yard. A-Chain on that carry. Looks like an injured Kent State Golden Flash player, as Wheezy Richardson slow to get up. We saw him earlier get banged up. Now he's holding that arm. A couple of tight ends in the game on fourth down as A-Chain did not get the line to gain.
It's interesting that you have A-Chain in a short yardage situation. He's more of your speed guy. I like Spiller or your quarterback running the football in that situation.
Crownover also in the game. He'll be a lead blocker as they give it to A-Chain, and he doesn't get it on fourth down. KSU stuffs it, a loss of a yard. Antoine Cook was the first one there, and then C.J. West at 330 pounds finishes it off.
4 new offensive linemen up front, and continuity is king up front. A lot of displacement of the offensive line of scrimmage by Kent State right there. And it's a fast-moving defensive line, and then it's slashing linebackers from the second level, and Kent State defensively got the best of that new offensive line for Texas A&M on that short yardage fourth down play.
Xavier Williams in at running back as Kent State will take the football at the 30-yard line. A big stop in a 1-touchdown game. They'll go inside handoff, only about a yard and a half.
I still go back to that third and fourth down play by Texas A&M. I don't like the fact that you have A-Chain in there who's much more of a speed guy, and Spiller didn't touch the ball at all on those 2 plays. That isn't exactly how you get it done.
Handoff goes inside to Xavier Williams, and again, not much happening there, so it'll be third and relatively long. Diggs with back-to-back tackles for Texas A&M.
And Mike Elko, the Texas A&M defensive coordinator, will bring pressure on Crum in these situations.
Just rushing 4 on this down. They'll come near side with it. Pass is caught, and that'll be a first down. Good effort on the outside by Keyshawn Abram, who will pick up the first down with an 8-yard catch.
Yeah, not a very good combination. It was soft coverage and a 4-man rush that seemed more excited to just stay in their rush lanes than try to get to the quarterback.
And now the race is on for Kent State. That pass is incomplete. For those of you who haven't followed Kent State football, this is a program that was really in the doldrums. They had a good year in 2012, but other than that, the last couple of decades have been very disappointing. Sean Lewis comes in and brings in this whole new concept offensively, a 2-win season his first year. Then he goes 7-6, gets him to a bowl game. Last year they went 3-1 in that shortened season. Mac only played 6 games. They lost 2 of them because of COVID, so only played 4, but went 3-1, and now they're expected to compete for a MAC title. Outside pressure, they run up the middle with it, and a gain of only 1, and it'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up. But what a job this guy has done, and he has brought an explosive offense. It's fun to watch.
And he does a lot of the play calling, and he's a 6'7" former Wisconsin tight end, so he's married some of that power game in with how fast can we go, which is Dino Babers, some of that passing or coaching trick.
That one was tipped by Aaron Hansford, and it falls to the turf, but it's 4th down, and Kent State will have to punt it away.
And it's just tough sledding to kind of get anything established outside of that first drive by Kent State. They're a run first. They will spread it and run it first when they can, and it's an RPO game. But right now, they're not running it very well, and there's very little separation on the back end.
Anaya Smith, a dangerous, dangerous return man, stands back at the 20-yard line. Josh Smith will punt it away, and they are clearly kicking it away from Mr. Smith, and that is probably a really good decision. Timeout on the field, 10-3, Texas A&M. Fun SEC season last year with 10 games, all conference matchups. So through that slate, A&M was able to play 9 conference games. They lost 1 to COVID, but when it was all said and done, they went 9-1, including a beatdown of North Carolina. They finished in the top 4. Just their 5th finish in the top 4 in school history, and they finished the year winning 8 straight games. Certainly this is a team you don't want to sleep on.
And the hard work that lies ahead is closing the gap on that team named Alabama. 3 losses, essentially half the losses since Jimbo Fisher has been here, are to Alabama, an average of 23 points, including the 28-point loss a year ago. So that's kind of where it is, that you're ascending the SEC mountain, and Alabama lives up there. So now how do we close that gap? That's the hardest ground to cover typically.
Bama got off to just a tremendous start today against Miami, put up 44 points when it was all said and done. Here's Anaya Smith. He is wrapped up around the 31-yard line. Let's get an update. Let's send you out to Kevin Connors.
Dave, Clemson, Georgia scoreless, DJ driving. Acho, what did you see from Christopher Smith here?
Yeah, Chris Smith's playing high. He drops down low on the snap. Pick 6, Chris Smith. It was post-snap drop. That's what we saw, and I thought it was a phenomenal play.
Pick 6. Clemson just 52 yards. It's 7-0 Dogs on ABC.
Previous play is under further review.
Thank you, Kevin. And here, this leads me to this. Last year, offenses put up remarkable numbers. I'm talking huge numbers.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how this season, and what we saw today, have the defenses made some strides? Because without all the work that was getting done, I mean, there were a lot of missed tackles across the board. It was kind of a mess defensively.
Yeah, and I think that we're trying to break into, as we have a replay review looking at a possible targeting on that last play when Anaya Smith caught the football. But we're as we take a further look at that targeting hit. 14 comes down, and actually it's from the other side. Mussolino, does he lower his head with forcible contact? And so the receiver had become a runner, and so it's not a defenseless player. So it has to be the targeting where it's leading with your helmet, and then there has to be forcible contact. And remember, it doesn't matter where the strike comes if you're leading with your helmet. That happened to be helmet-to-helmet contact, but that doesn't matter anymore. The helmet-to-helmet was the old school. So watch Mussolino coming from the top side, lower his helmet. Does he lead with the crown of the helmet, which is specifically defined? It looked more maybe like the side of the helmet was the actual forcible contact. We'll see what the officials come up with.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. Second down.
I think that's a good decision. I think Mussolino was coming in, but it was more of a glancing blow with the side of the helmet.
But back to that defensive question, though.
Yeah.
I mean, do you anticipate defenses being a little bit better in terms of having more opportunity to work on things this year?
Yeah, I think the defense it's cyclical. I think the spread offenses, the hurry-up offenses, the mobile quarterbacks, the RPO now that has amplified all of that, have the defenses scrambling. I think typically, historically, the defenses will catch up a little bit, but this year's a little bit different as well because we have a lot of young quarterbacks.
Right.
We expect young quarterbacks just to hit the ground running as the next great one. That isn't always the case.
A-Chain. He'll have the first down around the 39-yard line. Give him 7 yards on that carry. Some great games coming up starting tomorrow over on ABC. Notre Dame and Florida State. And then Louisville and Ole Miss on Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Part 2 Chick-fil-A kickoff games. Alabama and Miami started things today. Late pitch to A-Chain, and he had nowhere to go. Boy, was that played well by Kent State. They stretched it out marvelously.
Yeah, and it's called a speed option, and King is essentially attacking the in man on the line of scrimmage, and if that in man right there attacks you, you pitch it out. And then it's about A-Chain trying to get his own at that point in time. It was well played by C.J. Holmes ultimately out on the pitch. But another way where you give your dual threat fast quarterback a little bit of room out of harm's way.
Fourth tackle behind the line for Kent State tonight. Here's King, stands in the pocket over the middle looking for Weidermeyer. Let him a little too much. That one falls incomplete.
I don't like Weidermeyer's route. He was running a dig route, which is simply a deep in route. The big tight end was kind of drifting upfield. There was cover 4, which means there's a safety that's pretty close to that hash. And once he sees that receiver break, he's going to break on that. So in an inside route, you have to kind of angle that back to the quarterback a little bit. He drifted upfield right into the mouth of that safety.
King on third down. All day to throw, and Anaya Smith bobbled it but caught it. Inside the 40 down to the 36-yard line. That'll move the chains. On a 3rd and 12, they pick up 27.
Anaya Smith down at the bottom does a good job of just getting into that void. The first route took the safety over with it, that in route, and Smith acted like he was going to the corner. Instead, he waited for that safety to be taken by that other route and then got into that void, and his quarterback found it.
They hand it off to Smith. Take it down to the 31-yard line. We were talking about running backs in the running game with Jimbo Fisher in our meetings yesterday. We were talking about running backs, and at the end of the conversation, he just kind of snuck in. He goes, "Don't count on Anaya Smith." Meaning we talked about him as a wide receiver all meeting, and then he just throws that in that we're still going to get him the ball in the run game.
Yeah, a lot of ways, but also that two-back look that we've seen Anaya Smith get the ball in a couple of times, and Kent State was afraid of that two-back look tonight.
A-Chain. He'll be about 1.5 yards shy of the line to gain, down to about the 27-yard line.
And Dave, you can have, you can have all of the firepower that you want, all of the bells and whistles, the skill guys that Jimbo has a plethora of, but it's all about how that line of scrimmage comes together. Kenyon Green is one of the best offensive linemen in the country, playing right tackle. Jameer Johnson, left tackle, transfer from Tennessee, only had 11 starts at Tennessee. And the other guys, center and 2 guards, rarely have played.
A-Chain off the right side. He'll have the first down inside the 25. A couple of missed tackles allow A-Chain to pick up the first down.
Jimbo must be wanting A-Chain to toughen up a little bit. That's the 3rd short yardage run we had right down Main Street. You can see the production coming back this year. Essentially no passing because Kellen Mond is with the Vikings. 86% of the running and receivers all over the map. So it's all about that line of scrimmage and about a young quarterback making hay in the pass game.
A-Chain down to around the 17-yard line.
What have we told? A-Chain runs about a 10-100 meter for the track team here.
Crazy, 3-time All-American. I mean, just the guy can flat out run.
A lot of those racehorse type guys don't want to carry the ball in the tackle. Sometimes you get a hangnail and those guys are in the barn for about a month, but he seems to be a little bit different than most guys that can run a 10-1.
Finished 11th at the NCAAs. Batted in the air, and that one is picked off by Kent State. They snuff out the drive. They'll have it at the 21-yard line. Elvis Hines comes up with the interception.
And poor spacing on the route. It's kind of a typical flood route when your quarterback gets outside, but the tight end and the secondary receiver were too close together. And so the quarterback, he will learn this. This is the first time that we saw King kind of force the ball. If it doesn't work, throw it out of bounds and start all over again. Had a lot of protection, very little pressure, but Bryce Young, my goodness.
344, 4 touchdowns. Good start. There is Crum, and he'll spin his way out near the 30. They'll spot it at the 29-yard line. That'll be about 1.5 yards shy of the line to gain.
And Crum can give you a little of that. It doesn't look that great, but it's effective at times just like that.
Second down and short. They go quick, and they're going to spot it to 32, and that'll be enough for the first down. And here comes Kent State and this offense.
Yeah. How fast can we go? How many plays can we run tonight? A great way to finish this half would be a touchdown to tie this one up.
Crum, he will take a couple of shots, but the way he was tackled, he actually got flipped over to the 40-yard line. So give him 8 on that carry on the flash fast offense. Over the middle. Pass is caught, first down at the Texas A&M 46-yard line. Abram takes a shot but holds on to it, brought down by Chappell. Tyreek is the youngster that is down after that tackle. Let's hope that's just a cramp. We will step aside for a moment. Getting late here in the second half in a one-score game. Thousands were affected by Hurricane Ida, and they urgently need your support. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond to and help people recover from that just disastrous storm a few days back. Do what you can. These folks do what they can. They have turned out red, white, blue, wearing the T-shirts that they wore 20 years ago, right after 9/11. Kent State trying to hang tough on first down, trying to set up a screen to Brian Bradford, their big back at 245 pounds, but Antonio Johnson able to make the play.
Yeah, that quick jet motion was intended to kind of move the defense a little bit from right to left and then throw the screen in behind it. But this defense is too fast to be screened against this team.
Little quick hitter to the outside. They're going to say catch is made. Short gain, however. Cephas is the one that was over there that got his hands around it. Dustin Crum quickly guides this offense, but third down and long now. 3rd and 11 for Crum and company. 4-man rush, high throw, incomplete, 4th down. Cephas again the intended target.
You can throw it that hot, but if you throw it that hot, you have to have it on the body. Went to the right guy, you just drill him in the number. But a really good adjustment that Kent State has made is instead of running into that 5-man box look, which is the vanilla look that Mike Elko told us they would give them, they're rotating a safety late and they're still throwing the run pass option into that favorable box look because Texas A&M is really adding a safety and Kent State is getting some plays out of it, but not enough plays.
Josh Smith, high, booming kick. He'll go out of bounds. See where they spot this one. They're going to spot it inside the 5, down at the 3-yard line. Great kick by Smith. With that, time for an update. Here's Kevin.
Hey, Dave, coming up at the half, we'll have much more on the defensive battle between Georgia and Clemson right now. My guy Sam Acho is going to love talking defense in that game. Plus, Alabama throttles Miami today. More on the job that Bryce Young did for the Crimson Tide. Plus, we'll have even more on Spencer Rattler's Day, how concerning that should be for Oklahoma fans. All coming up when you join us at the half. Dave?
Thank you, Kevin. Haynes King, a big story here, making his first career start. For more on him, let's go down to Dre.
Guys, I was impressed by Haynes King after that interception. He came over to the sidelines and he stood up the entire time. He did not sit down. He looked cool, calm, and collected. Very straight face. He got a lot of fist bumps from his teammates, including Isaiah Spiller and Jimbo Fisher.
Saw those numbers. Great start, but it slowed down considerably after going 6 for 6. So we'll hand it off here after the 10-yard line goes Isaiah Spiller.
Well, Kent State has made an adjustment defensively. They aren't getting very much pressure on the young quarterback, so they're playing much more coverage on the back end. And I actually think that's a really good adjustment because I think it's more difficult for a young quarterback to get through progressions when there's a lot of clutter on the back end. And we saw that in that forced play. There wasn't a lot of separation with his receivers, poorly defined, but you don't force that as a quarterback.
Spiller out to about the 13-yard line. That'll be close to the line to gain.
You know, Dave, what we're seeing is one reason you always have to kind of tap the brakes on the hype. When you're replacing 4 offensive linemen and replacing a 4-year starter at quarterback, to have them as one of the top 5 teams in the country, a lot of questions have to be answered correctly. And right now, the offensive line isn't doing a very good job of hatting them up in that run game, which is this offense's calling card.
True freshman Bryce Foster in there at center. We expected to see him early, and that has been the case. Out of the I formation, they hand it off right side. First down, and then some for Spiller out to the 25-yard line.
I thought this would be a decent test for new offensive linemen and Haynes King, the young quarterback, because what Kent State's doing defensively is a 3-3-5 that's predicated on a ton of movement. So there aren't defined landmarks for offensive linemen, and quarterbacks, it gets somewhat confusing.
Pass caught for 11 yards by Caleb Chapman. Good to see Caleb out there. Of course, suffered a devastating knee injury in a touchdown catch against Florida last year that ended his season. On first down, 4-man rush. Anaya Smith breaks a tackle inside the 40. Gain of 24 yards brought down by Dean Clark.
And that's why people are so excited, including Jimbo Fisher. You know the athleticism that you're going to get out of Haynes King, but it's throwing that deep skinny post right into the middle of the field
timeout.
before that safety can get over there. Ainias Smith needs to catch a ball a lot. He's just running down the hash. Soon as he turns his head, that ball is already 3/4 of the way there. That's really good discernment by King on that play.
1:15 on the game clock, please.
Well, we've almost got a half in the books, and this offense has picked up a ton of yards. As a matter of fact, every drive's been down to the 30-yard line of Kent State. What do you make of Haynes so far in a big picture?
I think a really good start. 6 for 6 on that first drive, and then this is the X factor that you just can't teach. Jimbo just puts his play sheet down on one like this and says, thank you, we get another roll of the dice. People are going to say Johnny Manziel all of a sudden, but that's a little premature, but it's Jimbo is wanting consistency. And he told us yesterday, quarterbacks have to still get it done when they don't have their best stuff. It's somewhat like a major league pitcher. When your best pitches aren't working, how do you fight through it? And this young man's a competitor first, and being a competitor will allow him to slowly become the leader on this side of the football.
Aggies have put up 275 yards of offense here in the first half. King is 4 of his last 5. That one is picked off again by Elvis Hines, his second tonight. And another drive is stopped.
And that was forced once again. It's a curl route outside. There was a defender underneath. There's pressure coming on. It's well picked up. The hesitation you can see in the feet before you can see it in the arm. There was a little extra hitch there that gave the defender time to break on that ball, and Hines completes the play. And so you see Jimbo Fisher is going to have to be good in those moments. He said there are going to be mistakes. It's how you respond to them.
Hey, how about the timeout by Sean Lewis, though, to kind of reset his defense, and
Love
out of
it.
that timeout, they get the interception.
Yeah, love that a lot. But you see the zone coverage on the back end. It's really a kind of a fire zone, trying to get pressure but play coverage on the back end for Kent State.
Crum flushed out of the pocket. He's going to run and pick up about 8.5 before he's out of bounds with 1 minute to go before halftime.
You know, Dave, you talked about this. You know, how do they finish this half, Kent State offensively? 3 timeouts left, a minute. You have a veteran quarterback that typically makes really good decisions. How about 10-10 at halftime? How would they feel about that?
So now it'll be 3rd down and about 2. Only 4 seconds off the clock. Empty set, 5 receiver look. Crum, though, will keep it, have the first down and more. Crum walloped about the 40-yard line. Flags come in. An 18-yard pickup. Not sure what happened at the tail end of that play. Andre Wright and Damani Richardson converge on that stop.
It could be a potential targeting, but Crum is very good at this. And you see the center leading him up in there. It was somewhat of a run-pass option with the run part being a late draw. But is this a targeting?
Personal foul, targeting, number 26 defense. The play's under further review.
Damani Richardson is coming up from his safety position, and it's all about the head. To me, Richardson used more of the shoulder, but the key factor, the indicator in that situation, when you don't have a defenseless player, is does he lead with the crown of the helmet? And if so, and he makes forcible contact, it absolutely will be targeting. I thought it was much more right shoulder by Richardson than crown of the helmet. See Richardson coming in right there. I don't think it's the crown of the helmet that makes the forcible contact.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe we'll get another look at it here, but it appeared like that was a shoulder shot.
And that's actually a byproduct of this targeting rule being put into place.
After
in the
further
past.
review, there is no foul for targeting. Number 26 is not disqualified. The result of the play, however, is first down.
And Kelly, one of the points of emphasis this year was targeting. They wanted to obviously concentrate on it as a big factor from an official standpoint.
But that's a new habit out of Damani Richardson that was created because of the potential of being kicked out of the game. So he slid his head out of the way, led with his shoulder. That's the perfect byproduct of why the targeting foul exists in college football today.
First down and 10. Crum picked up 18 on that scramble. Off the right side. Bradford with a big run, and he'll have another first down inside the 25-yard line. A gain of 16, and Kent State's knocking on the door.
And the veteran quarterback Crum getting him in the right play. It definitely was a run look to the right side right there.
Pocket stands tall, going to the end zone. Nobody there, and it's intercepted. A touchback in the end zone as Leon O'Neal comes up with the interception to stop the Golden Flashes.
Really bad decision by a veteran quarterback. His receiver didn't have anything early in the route and then released up. That pump fake was a double move, but what's happening when you make that pump fake and don't throw it immediately, that safety, Leon O'Neal, is coming out of the middle of the field and targeting the football because all he's doing is watching the quarterback, and then he just has to catch the pop fly. Really bad decision. You don't throw late on a double move when there's a safety in the middle of the field.
King with 2 interceptions, Crum with his first interception. A 10-3 game. This line was right around 30 points. I think some folks around the country taking a look at this and going, Texas A&M got off to a quick start, but the Golden Flashes slowed them down. It is a 1-touchdown game. The Aggies will head to the locker room, leading at 10-3. Haynes King 12 of 20, 143, a couple of interceptions and a touchdown, but Sean Lewis has to like where his team is right now.
End of the second quarter.
So that's our story here. 10-3 our score. Kind of a shocking result. Let's get you to the studio, Kevin Connors. And welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Dr. Pepper. Back inside Kyle Field, where a little bit of a surprise going on here. Kent State only down a touchdown. A 10-3 tally after one half of football. Dave Neal back alongside our quarterback, Kelly Stauffer. And Kelly, obviously, great start by Texas A&M. Looked like they were going to run Kent State right out of the building, but things kind of stopped. What happened?
I think Haynes King felt very comfortable early, and I love the play calling by Jimbo Fisher. 6 for 6 on that first drive. He finishes with throwing a strike on a Q route to Anias Smith. So that was the good. And then it was forcing the naked route. Poor distribution of spacing by the receivers, but you are the one that has the ball in your hand, so you have to throw it out of bounds or run it. And then a bad route by Chapman on the curl. But again, you as the young quarterback has the ball in your hand, you have to throw that thing outside or throw the ball away.
Kent State will get the football to start the second half. Here's Johnson. He'll take it out over the 20 to the 21-yard line, where he is stopped right there. And take a look at the first half stats. And Texas A&M certainly moved the ball well. 273 yards of offense. The problem was that the last 3 drives, they got stopped on downs and had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, and conversely, Kent State would love to be down by only 7 points at halftime coming into this game. However, they didn't get anything going offensively either, and the really bad mistake at the end of the half by a veteran quarterback in Dustin Crum certainly didn't help anything.
Crum, empty set, 4-man rush. Batted in the air, and it's incomplete. Let's go downstairs, get an update from Dre.
Guys, I talked with defensive coordinator of Kent State, Tom Kaufman, and he told me that the message to the guys at halftime was keep doing exactly what we're doing, buy into the culture. Dave, you said this was a little bit of a surprise. He told me the opposite. He said we are not surprised. We knew we would be here.
Wow.
Well,
okay.
There aren't many, but he was one of them.
None of the 100,000 here thought that, but
But nonetheless, I mean, a defense that gave up 70 points in their last game, did Kent State's defense, has not shown any signs of that. Flag down at the line of scrimmage. Pass is caught there on the far side. That one goes to Abram, who's been a favorite target so far by Crum. Mark Curls, our referee tonight.
Ineligible receiver number 88 was covered up and went downfield for the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
And those are the type of mistakes that you simply can't make when you're going on the road in the SEC, playing in front of 100,000 people. And Sean Lewis knows that. He understands that they have to play incredibly clean. They have to finish drives, and they can't have those self-inflicted wounds that just occurred right there.
Yeah, they were looking at a 3rd down and 1, and now it's 2nd down and 15. Coming near side, that one's dropped.
So Dave, a 3rd and 1 goes to 2nd and 15, and then you have a slant with a route out in the flat, and you have a drop pass by Leach. I mean, those are things that are gimmies just to manage now that you're behind the sticks.
Dime package defensively by A&M. Not a whole lot of room to throw it. Pass is caught out here on the new side by Cephas. But that'll be 4th down and about 11 coming up.
And really good 3rd down defense by Mike Elko's crew. You get them behind the sticks. So then they run routes that are in front of the chains, and you just force them out of bounds. So right now, Kent State doesn't have many answers because the run game part of what they want to do isn't working real well, and it's man-to-man coverage with very little separation on the back end.
First 3 and out of the night for Kent State. End over end kick by Josh Smith. Another one of those Australian kickers. Down to the 30-yard line. That's where Anaya Smith has it, and it'll be time for Texas A&M to bring out their offense. And it's also time to represent your school by showing us how big you're going tonight. Submit your best fan video to #ShowYourSaturday, and you might just get your 15 seconds of fan fame. Good look at Kyle Field on a red, white, and blue
Gorgeous.
night.
How about that? Yeah, what a scene this is. 100,000 people decked out in red, white, and blue. It's good to have them back. There isn't any doubt about that. It's good to be back, actually.
Yes. Right. Yeah, it's a little different being in my office than being here, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit. For one thing, it's way more humid right here.
No, you haven't been in my office, my man. I'm in a little closet over my garage. It got a little humid in there at times. Handoff goes to Spiller.
So if you're Jimbo Fisher, you want to get back to your calling card, which is your run game. Giving it to Spiller, giving it to Anaya Smith, your running back room is one of the best in the country, but it's about the offensive line of scrimmage that Jimbo Fisher, I guarantee you, wants to see more out of in this second half.
King over the middle, high throw. That one's incomplete. Boy, Weidermeyer, he made that catch. Might have got walloped on the back. As a matter of fact, he still took a shot.
Yeah, it was a good business decision not to go up and try to get that one. It was a single high safety, man-to-man underneath, and once Weidermeyer went to the skinny post, that safety was staring at the quarterback and just broke right on it.
We talked to him yesterday, and just you want to talk about a sharp young man. He's got it figured out, doesn't he? Some say he could be the first tight end to go. And they go right back to him. Makes the catch inside Kent State territory at the 46-yard line. Dean Clark makes the stop, but a gain of 18.
And this is how you use a tight end, is you have him command the middle of the field, and then you put a ball on him where he can just body it up. See how that ball's more on his frame as opposed to the previous pass that was airmailed. So you have room in the middle of the field. Get your big body tight end at 6'5", 255, that can be a young quarterback's best friend. Quite frankly, be any quarterback's best friend.
A&M 7 of 9 on third downs tonight. They'll go Spiller on first down here. Boy, what a great cutback.
Kent State had two defenders that had the angle. The power play coming to the side away from where Spiller gets it, just a misdirection. Two guys couldn't tackle it. Try to tackle 28. So many times good running backs will create their own room. That's a terrific example of it right there.
5 missed tackles tonight for Kent State defensively, as Spiller 10 carries, 72 yards. First down and 10 after that 10-yard gain, and a lot of room for Anaya Smith. He's inside the 25-yard line. They will spot him down around the 22, give him a gain of 14. Louisville and Ole Miss coming your way Monday night. Chick-fil-A kickoff game number 2. No Lane Kiffin. Scott Satterfield and his Cardinals trying to slow down Ole Miss's offense, and Matt Corral.
Yeah, how does Matt Corral do without the lane train calling the plays and his animation on the sideline? That remains to be seen.
That was off the turf. Smith thought he got it, but incomplete pass.
So, Dave, one of the things that Kent State did in that second quarter defensively is they went to a little bit more zone coverage and really forcing A&M to be a little more patient than the low throw to Anaya Smith, and that definitely hit the ground. But can this remodeled offensive line with a young trigger puller put together plays in order to get drives? So many offenses in the country, if you eliminate the explosive plays in the drive, offenses have a hard time finishing.
Again, the freshman Bryce Foster out of Katy, Texas, in there at center. Luke Matthews got the start, but he's been struggling with injuries. So we anticipated Luke would play a little bit, and then they see what the freshman could do, but he sticks in here for the start of the second half. There is a big fella who
he is a big fella.
Might be heading to the Texas A&M track team as well. Holds the AAU Junior Olympic shot put record for 15 and 16-year-old, and wants to be a member of the Texas A&M Aggie track team and throw the shot and discus moving forward.
I think that was one of the things that closed the deal for him to come here, is Jimbo Fisher agreed to have him do that.
Here's King, flag down the middle of that line. Pass is caught. Down around the 5-yard line goes Smith, but that is right in the area of holding.
Kenyon Green was the right tackle that was where that flag was, but also the new center that you just talked about, Bryce Foster, was right in the middle of it. One of those guys is going to be guilty.
Holding, number 58, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay third down.
Actually, it was Jameer Johnson, the left tackle, as he gets a little bit too high and absolutely just grabbed the jersey. And he will learn that you don't have to do that near as much with Haynes King back there because of his ability to escape. Mond was not that way. Mond was more of a pocket passer and a very reluctant runner that got rid of the football on time because of his experience. King can be an eraser for poor protection at times. Johnson needs to learn that.
Erase the first down, make it third down and 14. They'll run left side with Spiller. Gets it down to around the 18, hit a couple of times. Now the golden flashes. Maceo Williams and Richie Carpenter. Force a field goal as Texas A&M will bring out their kicker Seth Small, who was 11 of 13 a year ago. This from 36, he's hit from 49. Career long was 52-yarder against Alabama. From the near hash. And that one will split the uprights. So 3 on the board for Texas A&M. It's a 10-point game here in the third quarter. In their first meeting with Texas A&M in school history, trailing in this one right now, 13-3.
The question becomes, where does Kent State get their points from, and you see Jimbo Fisher was over talking to the offensive line, Jameer Johnson in particular, that entire timeout.
Johnson bobbles it, will take a knee in the end zone. Well, the first drive resulted in a field goal for Kent State. Since then, they've had 4 punts and an interception.
Yeah, not pretty. And where are they going to get it? I mean, Sean Lewis's offense is predicated on going fast. In order to go fast, you have to maintain possession. You're not running the ball well, and a lot of times it's just 4 down linemen for Texas A&M. They aren't adding to the box a great deal, but it's man-to-man coverage on the back end, or really it's quarters match coverage, which becomes man-to-man, and there just isn't a lot of separation for Kent State in that secondary for Texas A&M.
First down, they'll run it. Big hole off the left side. 15, 16, 17 yards for Marquez Cooper. He'll finish with 19 on that carry.
There's the first down, the first down, Dave. We're off to the races.
Out to the 44-yard line.
That umbrella look on the back end. Here comes the safety dropping down.
Crum will keep it himself out to the 45.
Cooper gets loose on that previous run, and so when you have a big play, that's your first down, so they're going to go fast again. Get a hat on a hat in that run game when the box count is right, and then Dustin Crum will get you in the right play, but then you have to make hay. You have to do something now.
Second down and 9. Pressure comes. Crum feels it, but nowhere to run. A defensive front that's missing 2 of their best guys, and McKinley Jackson and Michael Clemens, who are suspended indefinitely. They've held up pretty well today.
And the pressure is going to come off the top of the screen, and that's the changeup that Mike Elko has brought in. It's Brian George that comes off the edge, number 10, to that short side of the field. But you want to break up
After
that.
the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 8, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, first down.
There you go, Dave. There's another big play for Kent State offensively, but that pressure is to speed up the decision-making, whether it's a run-pass option, whether it's a drop-back pass like it was on that play. But Mike Elko wants to, that epicenter of decision-making, which is Dustin Crum, he wants to speed that all up a bit.
Crowd getting a look on the big board of that replay.
They didn't like that. Marvin Leal was the one that got called for that.
It'll be first down and 10. You know, Kent State will take it and move on, but boy, Crum had to get rid of that pass a little bit quicker than he wanted to, trying to hit Cooper out of the backfield.
And it was that blitz off the corner again. It was once again to try to speed up the decision making, and you have a running back out there in Cooper that doesn't make a side adjustment when he sees that blitz coming, which simply means change your route and give your quarterback an outlet in the void left by that blitzer off the edge.
Here comes some more pressure off the edge. They'll run it up the middle. Couple of broken tackles and close to a first down goes Marquez Cooper. Nice hard running off the left side of that line.
And there's edge pressure, but there's softness in the middle. And certainly that is intentional on the edges, but they're counting on the 4-down lineman holding up better than that.
We'll run it with Cooper again. Give him about 4 on that carry.
And Texas A&M, Dave, as you pointed out, they're deep on the defensive line of scrimmage, but without Clemens and without Jackson that are suspended at this point in time, they're much thinner up front, and when they're not thin, they're certainly young.
Coming around the right side goes Nykeem Johnson, the speedster, the transfer from Syracuse. Matter of fact, there's 4 Syracuse Orange transfers, and their connection is that guy, Sean Lewis, who coached under Dino Babers at Syracuse before coming to Kent State. Flag down. Cooper takes a shot, takes a couple of shots, one of them at the end of the play, and a flag came in. Leon O'Neal was the first one there. Mark Curls having a discussion to try to figure out this scenario.
There are multiple fouls. Personal foul, leg whip, number 67 offense. That penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. After the play, personal foul, late hit with targeting, number 9 defense. That play is under further review.
So Leon O'Neal. They will check on Leon O'Neal and see exactly what happened with old number 9 when we come back. Well, Leon O'Neal's getting some slaps on the backside because he gets to stay in the game. They reversed the call on targeting.
Yeah, and called on the field and reversed in the review process. And you can see right there, the forcible contact was not with the crown of the helmet. And that's the only variety that would apply there because it's not a defenseless player. So that job was well done. And then the leg whip by the offensive lineman for Kent State should have been enforced.
Well, what happened was there was a late hit attached to that targeting, so they can't reverse that. So they say offsetting because...
Well, that was a poor call then because that hit took place a half a yard in bounds at least.
So from the 22, Crum underneath. That pass almost picked off. He was way behind Nykeem Johnson. That was a dangerous throw by Dustin Crum.
That was going to be a tunnel screen inside, and it was incredibly poor looking. Watch the offensive lineman release, get downfield, and then the receiver is supposed to be behind those guys, and that didn't work very well. It was Johnson coming from the left to the right and was out of time with his blockers.
Crum this time over the middle, picked off. Leon O'Neal, some redemption. He's to midfield. He's got some blockers. O'Neal will take it to the end zone. 85 yards.
We talked about the adjustment that Texas A&M has made. They bring a safety late, and that safety was Leon O'Neal, and then Kent State thinks they can throw a run-pass option, the pass portion of that behind the safety, and O'Neal would have none of it. And we talked to Mike Elko this week, yesterday as a matter of fact, and he said he wanted Leon O'Neal as well as Imani Richardson to get more active in pass coverage, and that's what more active looks like when you take one to the house.
Point after is up and good. So Leon O'Neal thought he was about to be ejected, stays in the game, and what does he do? Grabs his second interception. This one goes back 85 yards. Leon O'Neal ran a gamut of emotions in the span of about 60 seconds.
Yeah, no question about it. Hopefully we can take a look at that. What caused that gamut of emotions? He thought he might be ejected because of targeting, and that was overturned by replay, and then he just decides to pick one off and run it back to the end zone.
Johnson lets it sail into the end zone. Here's our first look at that play you're talking about.
Yeah, Leon O'Neal gets called for targeting right there, and actually a late hit, and it was neither one of them. So I'm not exactly sure where the late hit come from. that was overturned with replay, and then the interception. The extra hat in the box in that run pass option is a safety, Leon O'Neal, and he ends up making a really good play on that, gets underneath the slant route behind him, and then finishes in the end zone.
You know what I love? DeMarvin Leal.
Yeah, how
Number
about
8
that?
at 290 pounds, leading the charge down the field.
Love that. And we heard stories about him working that hard in practice. Sometimes he'll chase Spiller 60 yards in just a run game drill.
Completion by Crum out near the first down. Crum, before that completion, was just one of his last 7, including 2 interceptions, and one of them came late in the first half in the end zone as they were driving.
Dreadful decision-making by a very experienced player.
They'll go with the big back, Bradford.
You know, not all interceptions are created equal. The one before the half, Dave, was horrendous. He just forced it on a double move and drew the safety over there. And this one was a better play by Leon O'Neal than it was a bad throw by Crum.
Crum keeps it, gets it to the 40, and he's stuffed there. It'll be 3rd down and about 6 coming up now for Kent State. Adrian Cooper, the first one there to make a stop on Crum, who can run with the football. I mean, he's got over 1,200 career rushing yards, 12 career rushing touchdowns to go with his 4,200 yards passing in his career. That one's deflected at the line of scrimmage. It's incomplete. And a quick offensive possession for Kent State. He just
was that
sits.
deflected?
I hope so, because it certainly was off the mark.
Yeah, it was a drive route outside, and Sean Lewis knows that it's few and far between out there in terms of where you're going to get your plays. You're not consistent enough, you're not efficient enough to drive it without splash plays, and the splash plays just aren't happening.
Yeah, only 1:07 before they have to bring out the punt team. 6:22 to go in the game, or excuse me, in the 3rd quarter. Smith calls for the fair catch around the 18. That's where the Aggies will have it. Time to take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by PlayStation. Alabama with little trouble against Miami and Atlanta. Oklahoma, though, had some trouble. That was a surprising result as the Green Wave go on the road and put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, Georgia and Clemson right now is pretty interesting. Georgia's defense is championship-esque. It's a matter of JT Daniels and how that side comes along, but Uyunglele, what exactly is going on there? That's why I'm not quick to jump on bandwagons when you're reintroducing a quarterback after, you know, a record setter like Trevor Lawrence, is because right now there's also questions on the offensive line, just like there are here at Texas A&M.
Yeah, King replacing the career leader in completions and yards for Texas A&M as Kellen Mond is now in the National Football League.
You know, the game is coming. I don't know that it's tonight, but the game is coming when Texas A&M is not going to be able to run the ball to stay ahead of the sticks like they want to. And so they're going to have to get plays out of Haynes King. And that's what Jimbo Fisher is kind of building to, allowing King to grow up and work through some mistakes. And he had a couple of them in that first half.
Spiller, 13 carries, 102 yards after that 9-yard pickup. They'll go back to him here in 28. Got about a half a yard. He's going to be shy of the line to make. 3rd down and short coming up as Brandon Coleman comes up to make the play for the Golden Flashes.
Anaya Smith and Chapman come back into the game as Jimbo Fisher called out the personnel that he wants. And this is where eventually having King, an extra run game guy, is going to prove valuable in short yardage and goal line situations.
They'll bring Smith in motion into the slot. They'll go that way and throw it to him. He'll have the first down out over the 30 to the 32-yard line.
Very simple. You cut the field in half. There's no real read in that. Anaya Smith comes in that short motion and then banks it back outside. You have a deeper receiver as well, so it's kind of a 2-route flood, but if the short route is there, you take it, especially if you're 3rd and short.
7 catches now for Anais Smith. Pull a couple of players on that O-line coming near side, and Spiller out to the 32-yard line. 4.5, maybe 5.
Dave, we haven't seen a lot of the power game, and you see it here. You're going to see 2 pullers from right to left, and then Spiller, it's a counter. And the significance of that is because of that counter step by the running back, the offensive lineman can go first, and he kicks out the first guy, and then that looping H-back / tight end is the second blocker. This offensive line may have a skill set that's more conducive to that movement and relocating offensive linemen to a different point of attack.
Working off the left side. Here goes the speedster, A-Chain. Nobody in the building's going to catch him. Touchdown, Texas A&M, 63 yards.
If you don't get A-Chain early, you're not getting A-Chain at all. Take a look from the pit cam, and right there, it's over. You could see that other guys chasing were starting to lose ground, not gain it. You don't gain ground on 10-1 unless you're some Olympic guy.
One after is up and good.
Dave, that didn't take long.
No, not when you, as you mentioned, have the speedster bust out for 63 yards. Was Texas High School Track and Field Athlete of the Year back in 2020, and here's a glimpse of that speed. I mean, this young man can flat out fly. He runs the 100 and 200. He's on the 4x100 relay, finished 11th at the NCAAs with a time of 10.2 in the 200 meters,
wow,
or in the 100 meters. And we saw a glimpse of that.
Look at those numbers. Those are incredible. And, you know, I was somewhat joking about A-Chain being in there on short yardage situations earlier, and I'm thinking, why don't you have your more physical pounder like Spiller? Well, that's why, is because if he gets by that first layer, someone's going to be looking at number 6, and the cannon over there in the far corner is going to be going off.
Short kick taken at the 7-yard line. Johnson out to the 30 to the 35. Let's go downstairs, check in with Dre.
Guys, you're talking about that 200-meter time, 20.31 seconds that almost qualified for the Olympic qualifiers.
Wow.
And I talked to A-Chain. He said he didn't realize how fast he was until he started training for track in high school. And he also told me that this is the fastest he's ever been after a season of collegiate track.
What is more impressive, Dre? Is it the 100-meter 10-1 or the 200 that you just talked about? Those both seem incredible to me.
To me, it's the 100-meter 10-1 because it's so fast, it flies by.
Yeah, incredible. There's something really poetic, almost like artful, seeing fast guys run fast. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, watching it.
Yeah, not trying to catch it, that's for sure. Dre might be able to, but the two of us aren't getting there.
Second down coming up for Kent State. 4-man rush. Crum running for that sidelines. No flags. Not a whole lot there. Aaron Hansford. You know, we haven't talked really about, we talked about a couple of guys on the D-line that have been suspended in Jackson and Clemens, but trying to replace, you know, one of their best guys just in general on this team, and Buddy Johnson, their linebacker last year, no longer a part of this team. That's a big hole to fill.
Well, he's their quarterback against a hurry-up team. Buddy Johnson, that middle linebacker that's no longer there, leading tackler and a really good playmaker. But you also have Bobby Brown on that defensive line that was an anchor against the run, and so now you have Jaden Peavy that's taken over that role.
There is the Marvin Leal, who wraps up Bradford. Boy, Leal has played a heck of a game. He has been all over the field tonight.
And when you have all of these guys available, the thing that you can do is Leal could actually drop down to a defensive tackle. He's out at defensive end. Clemens isn't here. Jackson isn't a defensive tackle, but DeMarvin Leal can play inside for a more of a speed rush against guards, or he can pop out at defensive end and squeeze from the edges. So what a terrific player number 8 is.
Leal with 6 tackles, 1 behind the line. Smith with the fair catch. Well, it's the only college football game on the schedule tomorrow. A 90s rivalry rekindled. Brian Kelly and number 9 Notre Dame take on Mike Norvell and Florida State from Doak Campbell Stadium, 7:30 Eastern time. It's on ABC and the ESPN app. One app, just one tap. Florida State, I don't know, did they announce? I don't think I've seen, did they announce the starter yet? Maybe I missed that.
Well, if you missed it, I certainly missed it, because you used to go hang out in Tallahassee, right?
I did hang out in Tallahassee.
I don't want to hear the stories right now,
no.
But maybe you can fill me in later.
Oh, I did. Oh, I did. Good times.
Your eyes are really lighting up right now.
Here's King. His eyes are lighting up, trying to go deep. Has a man. Passes caught. Caleb Chapman down to the 20. 55 yards on the throw and catch.
Montre Miller was single coverage out there, and nobody in the middle of the field. You can see that, and Chapman just goes right by it. This is a middle of the field open or middle of the field closed read if I have a post. Obviously, King got middle of the field open, no safety. Then it's just a matter of throwing the right pass, and Haynes King did everything right on that play.
Spiller breaks a couple of tackles and finally dropped the 19th. Shoestring tackle by Juan Wallace.
And Dave, looking ahead at this Texas A&M offense as we see a player remain down, what is the condition and the ability of the wide receiver group? You have a really good tight end room. You have one of the best running back rooms in the country. You're breaking in a new quarterback, 4 new offensive linemen. But last year at wide receiver, it was musical chairs. You had to move Aniyah Smith because of injuries at the running back position over to running back. And there wasn't consistent production on the outside. And so now with Smith back in that fold, Agent Zero, it's going to be interesting to see what you can get out of the receivers. You can see right there, you know, volume catcher and Weidermeyer at the tight end position, and then certainly you have Smith, that's the do-everything guy. Hezekiah Jones is banged up. We haven't seen him tonight. Spiller can do more out of the backfield at receiving as well. So that's one area that the pass game can expand, is going through your running back a little bit. But some more guys have to be more consistent at that true wide receiver position if Texas A&M is going to take that last and final step to ascend that SEC mountain, which is obviously Alabama setting up there looking awfully, awfully good today.
Well, there's some time for Texas A&M to build to that date with Alabama. You just hope that, you know, if you're Jimbo Fisher, your club isn't thinking about Alabama just yet, because Kent State with another interception, this one on a deflected pass.
And this throw was late. Chase Lane was running a kind of a glance route, a deep slant route, and he was open early. So what King is going to learn is you have to anticipate. You don't wait for your receiver to break. You have to anticipate where he's going. And that's why he got into trouble there. It's those little things. If he bangs it out a little bit earlier, that hand actually isn't in the way. He allowed the route to get more over the middle. It was late, and that's where those big guys up front start to get those long arms and big paws up and can cause you some issues.
Yeah, they had 4 interceptions last year, 4 fumbles. That was it. They have 3 interceptions tonight. 8 total turnovers last year.
Kellen, Mon had 3, period. 19 touchdown passes and only 3 interceptions the entire season. And so obviously there's a new sheriff in town pulling the trigger, and Haynes King has a little bit to learn.
Down goes Crum. Jaden Peavy, DeMarvin Leal combined to throw the Kent State quarterback to the turf. They may let this clock run out. 5 seconds to go before the end of the 3rd quarter. And that will do it. Texas A&M
End of the 3rd quarter.
led 10-3 at halftime. They put up 17 in the 3rd quarter, and they lead it 27-3. Talked about it, a bunch of new quarterbacks. These are just guys in the top 10 that are running the show.
Crazy. And the guys they're replacing were like legendary record setters.
Right.
Most of which will start tomorrow or next week in the NFL.
Crum smashed as he lets it go. It's dropped around the 25-yard line, incomplete, but Crum got hammered right as he threw that one.
And as time has gone on here, Tyree Johnson ends up getting the pressure in the end of the play. That was extremely well thrown by Dustin Crum, but very well covered at the same time by Brian George. And that's the way it's been essentially all night. Getting some pressure, but even when there isn't pressure, there's really good man-to-man coverage on the back end by A&M.
Short kick. Smith fields it. No fair catch. Flag comes out. Smith thought he had a decent return. That one may be waved off. An injured Kent State player down on the turf.
During the return, holding number 32, return team. Penalties 10 yards from the spot, a foul, 1st down.
Hey, Monday, Scott Satterfield will lead Louisville against Ole Miss without their coach Lane Kiffin. It's our primetime college football Labor Day matchup. It's the first ever meeting between the two teams. Reese and Kirk will have the call from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, G8, 8 o'clock Eastern.
I'm not sure what to make of that.
I'm actually going to go to that. My wife's an Ole Miss grad, and we're going to have date night. Neil's are going to have date night in Atlanta Monday night, so don't bother me.
Well, way to go.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save my calls till the next day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you, by the way, on Tuesday. That's why I said Tuesday. I'll let you know if I'm still on the Florida State bandwagon or not.
Yeah, I see that.
Right. They'll play Notre Dame
Well,
on
no Lane
Sunday.
Kiffin, that will take away a little bit of the fun.
Yeah.
But hopefully Corral will still get it going. Terrific, talented quarterback. You don't have your play caller standing beside you, though, man. I don't like the feeling of that.
First down and 10 for the Aggies. Spiller hands it off. Are you surprised at all that we haven't seen Calzada at least take a few snaps here tonight?
No.
Okay.
No, not whatsoever, because I just think it's time to make sure that Haynes King gets acclimated, feels all of it, you know. Had some interceptions, poor route running, poor decisions, at least a couple of those interceptions. But then also feel what it's like to get through it all and finish the game as that starter. That's an important point too.
Spiller, a lot of room over here. A little one-on-one matchup. He wins that one and picks up a few extra yards. Nice job by Spiller. Boy, I tell you, there is so much to like about 28. I mean, his ability to catch the ball in the backfield is just another dimension to what's already an awesome game.
Yeah, and an outlet throw by a young quarterback, that's good. And then give it to this guy where he can square his shoulders, that's also good. So those are the things that your young quarterback is going to really begin to hone in on, is how to distribute the football to those playmakers.
Spiller with 20 catches a year ago out of the backfield, adding some more tonight. We'll step aside for a moment. 27-3. Isaiah Spiller's had a pretty big game today, Dre.
Yeah, he told me that he played shooting guard in high school and could get buckets, guys. And that hesitation move that you saw, he said that's his favorite move. It's the hezzy. It freezes the defense just like he's on the basketball court. The hezzy.
You could take him, Dre. I know you could. I've seen highlights of you D'ing people up. You could D 28 up. I can tell.
You said it, Kelly, not me.
The hezzy.
Former Lady Vol hoopster, Andrea Carter down the sidelines. Isaiah Spiller, no action on that play as they go to Chase Lane for the reception and a first down, a pickup of 14.
I'm going to use hezzy.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I don't know where it's going to fit into.
You've done a couple of hezzies to me tonight.
Yeah,
Come on,
that's true.
Come on, that's a taste.
That results in me walking on you. Hezzy.
First down and 10 for the Aggies. They've racked up 497 yards of offense tonight. 232 on the ground, 265 through the air. Pass is caught around the hip. A nice grab by Chase Lane to hold on to that football.
You remember the last interception that got batted up in the air because I told you it was too late? Watch this one. It's right on the hash to even outside the hash. The timing was considerably better on the same route. Little baby steps, Dave. Yeah. Little baby steps.
King played just 2 games last year, making his first career start tonight. Steps up in the pocket, and that one sails off target, looking for Weidermeyer in the end zone. And King now 20 of 33 for 278, 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions.
And Jimbo Fisher will use every inch of this experience to grow that young man up. Jimbo will be all over it. He's been attached at the hip to all of his quarterbacks throughout his career. He's either been the offensive play caller or he's been the head coach that calls the plays. Spends a ton of time with Haynes King and loves what he sees. He talked about the ability for King to come out of the smoke and throw well.
All right. We'll step aside for a moment. 27-3, Aggies out in front. Throwback to 20 years ago on September 22nd, after the conference and most of sports were shut down for a week after the devastation of 9/11. Fans came out and had a red, white, and blue game at Kyle Field against Oklahoma State, a game they would end up winning, which was almost secondary. Fans bought $5 t-shirts, raised almost $180,000 for some of the first responders up in New York City. And they replicated here today, and boy, what a sight it has been. Haynes King, the freshman, nowhere to go, and he's dropped. C.J. West, the big man up the middle at 330 pounds. Loss at 3.
And King wanted to go outside initially to Spiller, but that was covered. And so where is my secondary receiver? And you have to get to it on time, and you also have to know how much time you have. It's okay to go ahead and airmail that one over Spiller's head when he's not there if you don't have your second look like immediately. But you're down deep in money zone. You can't take a sack down here, and you certainly can't make a mistake that keeps points up the board.
They can get a first down, but there's not a whole lot of room down there. It's about the 1-yard line. Third down coming up. Pass over the middle. They may not even need to worry about it. They get 6 instead. Nia Smith, 14 yards out. His second touchdown of the night.
It's always a good idea to find zero. Watch him isolated right here. It takes a little bit of time. The middle receiver starts there, but then you have to go to that next window, and that's why King had to wait a little bit longer. the first defender saw King's eyes go there, and then the receiver, Anaya Smith, bails the quarterback out and gets that second window and ultimately a touchdown.
Smith now with 100 yards receiving. After that reception, a couple of touchdowns, 8 catches. He's been targeted 10 times tonight.
And you might not always have that amount of time, but when you feel like you do, that's a great opportunity to allow Smith to work a little bit and slide into that second window, give it to Agent Zero on the numbers, and he's going to get something after he touches it.
A&M now up over 500 yards of offense. They have more than doubled up Kent State.
So, David, have you seen growth and maturity more so out of Haynes King from first half to second half to this quarter?
I mean, I think you learn with every throw, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Every throw, every look, every situation is new. And then ultimately, you know, coaching quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, is kind of like raising children. You know, it's children don't always finish well initially. You have to teach them how to do that. Don't just get the toys out, put the toys back again. Well, sometimes young quarterbacks don't get it done in the red zone and finish drives, and King is learning a little bit of that.
When did you, at Colorado State, go back there, had a great career, but at what point did you ever feel like, okay, I've got this?
Going into your second year, it was like, okay, things slowed down immensely since the last time we were doing this. And then, you know, you don't often, the good ones don't often get to, you know, year 3 or 4 anymore. Yeah, but those are magical times. But a lot of these guys, if they have the ability, they're going on and learning it all over again at the next level. But it's kind of midway through that second year, and it's like, okay, I see this and I got this.
Colin Schley comes into play, some quarterback, the redshirt sophomore out of Maryland. 7 of 13 last year, a couple of touchdowns, played in 3 games. He's an interesting story. He's a guy that committed to Kent State early, but had a breakout senior year in basketball and got a handful of Division I basketball offers, but had already committed to commit to Kent State and kept that commitment. Big hole off the right side. Williams still on his feet, breaks a couple of more tackles, driving down to the 30-yard line. A huge gain for Kent State, and Williams will get him into Aggie territory after a 38-yard run.
And we haven't seen a ton of this tonight, but undisciplined, kind of getting out of their run fit is Texas A&M defensively. And then Williams has that speed. He's actually the speed guy that we haven't seen much of today.
Schley gets it down to about the 23-yard line. Antonio Johnson able to make the stop, not before a gain of 7.
Well, Sean Lewis told us that Schley is a really, really freakish athlete. They expected him maybe to use him in Wildcat tonight, maybe even as a receiver at times.
Pressure comes, and Schley trying to get out of that tackle, can't do it, as Keldrick Carper comes in to make the play.
And that was a design draw. You could see the 2 offensive linemen release, and Schley was supposed to get in behind him, but that pressure came off the edge more quickly than the quarterback could take advantage of it. It was Carper outside that was the edge rusher.
Well, that's a tough blow if they're going to lose their best offensive lineman. Guduk is their left tackle, transfer from K-State. A lot of folks think he has NFL potential. We'll step aside for a moment. And Kelly Stauffer, I defer to you. What was your best moment?
Right here, Leon O'Neal. He read it, run pass option. The extra insert into that box made it muddy for Dustin Crum, but it's all about how you finish, and number 9 takes it the distance.
85 yards on that interception return. Kent State driving here. They'll hand it off to Xavier Williams. Stays on his feet before he is dropped on the back end by Keldred Carper.
There's a lot of pride defensively, trust me. I've been in these situations where you want to pitch the shutout out of the end zone. I know there's 3 on the board, but
Schlee inside the 10, down to around the 7-yard line. Actually, they're going to spot him back closer to the 9.
anytime the defense can keep a touchdown off the board in a game is a huge win. They'll hear about that from Mike Elko if this group on the field right now can keep Kent State out.
Second down, flag down. Schlee takes it. He'll take it into the end zone. A couple of flags are down, however. We'll see if this sticks or not. Nifty little run by Colin Schlee.
Illegal formation, 5 players in the backfield on the offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
Yeah, that erases a big play, and we know that it's been few and far to begin with, and yeah, just not enough players on the line of scrimmage. It was hard to tell exactly who was the offender there. It's usually either an offensive lineman that got a little too deep, he's fixing to pull or do something like that, or pass block and get a head start, or a receiver outside that wasn't on when he was supposed to be.
On second down, and it does it. A helmet comes flying off of Williams. Boy, Carper's making some hits for this Aggie team out of the secondary. He has 7 tackles tonight.
Mike Elko told us about Carper is kind of their X factor. He's their dime guy, which simply means yet another defensive back inserted, and he could show up anytime, anywhere in alignment, and when he does, he likes to strike people, and we've seen that.
It'll be third down at about 11 yards. Injured Aggie down on the field. Hard to get a number on him right now.
Who's that guy?
Oh, he looks familiar. How about old Johnny Mansell?
How much would that guy have made in the NIL days?
Oh,
my goodness. That isn't retroactive, is it?
no.
I don't know. I could get 3 burgers at a joint in Fort Collins if I went back, but that dude could have got paid.
So let me ask you, you think the NIL will have an impact on where kids go to school based on certain things, dynamics?
I think that's the one area that I think could be affected, but the rich are already rich, because like Alabama, if Bryce Young can sign deals for $1 million plus before he ever takes a snap, if you're the next 5-star that's going to come in after that guy, why would you not go there and know that you're going to get $1 million in endorsement deals? But those guys are already going there anyway because they think they can at least get to the next level.
Boy, was he fun to watch in college.
boy.
My gosh, he was something else. He's watching his Aggie defense right now try to stand up here on third down. A couple of broken tackles. Good strong run from Williams. See where they spot it. Looks like it'll be around the 1, which will be good enough for a first down. It'll be first and goal.
Where was Williams up to this drive? He seems to be providing somewhat of a spark, more of the speed back. You think edge with him, but he's a pounder as well.
8 carries, 73 yards. A keeper by the quarterback, Colin Schlee, will get him in the end zone. So the first touchdown of the night by Kent State comes with 8:27 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Schlee does a great job of sticking it in there and riding that down inside forever. And then the late pull and he gets to the edge. And that's where you see the athleticism, is when he got outside and there were 2 guys out there. Here we have the swinging gate. Just swung back inside.
And it just closed rapidly. Here's the point after. Andrew Glass hammers it through the uprights. 34-10 is our score now. 8:27 to go. It's getting late in Bryan College Station. Kyle Field. Close to 100,000 on hand for this opener. Texas A&M got off to a quick start, 10 quick points, but then kind of got stuck in the mud offensively, but in the third quarter kind of opened it up a bit, leading by 24 now. Kent State coming off their first touchdown, trying the onside kick, loose football, batted around by a couple of guys. We've talked about, you know, new quarterback, new offensive line, but in terms of the running back and the wide receivers, there's a lot of guys to get the football to. Leon O'Neal not about to give up that football at the bottom of that scrum.
Well, the guy who has it at the bottom is a Kent State Golden Flash, so.
And they got the football. It'll be Kent State football.
We didn't see the call, but the one at the bottom of the pile was a Golden Flash who came out with it.
Mandela Lawrence Burke comes up with that football.
Correction. Texas A&M had the ball, the possession on the ground before it was taken away by Kent State. It's Texas A&M ball, first down.
Well, they'll switch that call. You know, Kent State won't like it, but that's the story. Boy, Sean Lewis hot about it.
And he has probably good reason to be hot. This is the playmakers that Haynes King has to learn to rely on. You know, obviously, however you can get it to Spiller and Smith, you have to do that. And then Chapman, very productive last year. You talked about the ACL I think he had 150 yards and a touchdown, got hurt on that touchdown against Florida last year. He has to get back to where he was before because he's that big body that can be a matchup guy. He looks like a tight end at a wide receiver, 6'5" and over 200 pounds. So as a quarterback, that's what you have to do first and foremost, Dave. How do I distribute the ball to the guys that can make good things happen when they have it?
Here goes A-Chain, who already has a 63-yard sprint for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's another one that wasn't even on our board. And that straight line speed is terrifying. So building him touches as well. I don't know if the young man can catch a ball or not, but I would like to get him on some screens and get him squared up outside and see if there's some fast guys on whatever defense you play.
H.A. last year, 43 carries, 364 yards, and 4 touchdowns, averaged 8.5 yards a carry. Take it off the left side, driving, getting some help from his O-line down to around the 31-yard line. That'll be a first down, a gain of 9.
Yeah, the Orange Bowl. He was the Orange Bowl MVP a year ago. 75-yard touchdown in that game against North Carolina. There's some numbers for him. 2 receptions, 24 yards, but 12 touches, and one of them is about actually over half that, 140 yards. I mean, Jimbo Fisher, that's one of the interesting things about a play caller is every year is different. You essentially lose about 25% of your team. How much production do you lose? We showed that graphic earlier. Almost all the past numbers, because Mon's not here, is
A.J. turns the corner to the goal line. He'll be knocked out of bounds just shy of that line. It'll be first and goal now for the Aggies, a 30-yard scamper, and he's now up to 123 yards rushing.
And just watch how he just dismantles the angles right there. There are guys that have angles inside, and he just dissolves them and then almost gets that in the end zone. Yet another guy that's going to need touches. We talked about Spiller. When you give him 15 touches or more, this will make 14-0 in games that Spiller has that many touches or more.
A-Chain stays in the game. They're going to let him cap off this drive after that big run that set it up. And another touchdown on the board for Texas A&M, the second TD of the night for A-Chain.
So, Dave, what I was saying about the play caller and Jimbo Fisher is he has to learn again what he has available to him this year, and not to deprive Spiller, but get these other guys going. And now he's a quarterback that can make it happen in the run game also. there's a learning curve for Jimbo Fisher in all of this as well.
A-Chain with 4 carries, 44 yards. On the ground on this drive, caps it off from a yard out. Good drive, offensive push from that O-line of Texas A&M. And now they have amassed on the ground tonight 273 yards. They're at 565 total offense. Kent State was hanging around for a half.
Yeah, there were some missed opportunities in that first half, and Kent State didn't take advantage of one trip deep into the red zone. And man, when you're on the road and playing against a roster that is as talented as Texas A&M's roster, and getting more talented by the year with the recruiting classes that Jimbo Fisher is bringing in, you have to make good while the getting's there, and it just didn't happen for them when it needed to early.
Kickoff sails into the end zone. Well, it's the only college football game on the schedule tomorrow, a 90s rivalry that is rekindled. Well, they had some great ones back in the day. Lou Holtz on the sidelines for Notre Dame, Bobby Bowden on the sidelines for Florida State, Warwick Dunn. I just think of some of those games. Oh man, they were unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's hope they have another good one tomorrow night. 7:30 Eastern time from Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee on ABC. Of course, the ESPN app, where just one app, one tap, get you the game. Mark Curls and his crew have been busy here in the second half.
Illegal equipment. There were 2 number 24s participating on the kicking team on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Can be added to the end of the play. First down.
See, Dave, they don't like it any better than we do when there are 2 numbers out there at the same time.
We just can't throw a flag. That's the only difference.
We need to throw the flag before the game when we even think that's going to happen.
Well, initially, up until we didn't even realize there were a couple of 34s playing defense
Correction.
for Kent State.
The penalty is a previous spot enforcement.
What do you suppose Jimbo's all fit to be tied about?
It's one of those things, though, in a game that is tight, right? I mean,
Penalties decline. First down.
Jimbo's always coaching hard. You know it. He's always coaching hard. There are a lot of things that he can show up in the meeting tomorrow with to get these guys on down the road in their upcoming schedule, and he's always coaching hard.
I was watching him in practice yesterday, and he's really involved.
Oh,
You know, a lot of head coaches will take a step back, let their coordinators handle some of these situational type things, but he was all over. The only one on the field, as a matter of fact, on the staff, making sure formations were correct, personnel was correct. He was very much invested in a short walkthrough yesterday. Inside handoff. And I guess, you know, game ones for head coaches have got to be the most nerve-wracking. You've had a month of practice with the guys, and obviously all the offseason stuff, but just to get all the small things like what we just saw, get that stuff ironed out, it's got to just wear on those guys.
No question. And then when you're replacing a 4-year starter at quarterback and 4 offensive linemen, if you're the play caller, that doesn't make you sleep well either.
Right. You guess you got to figure, as you've talked about all night, you've got to figure out where you can have success, what doesn't work, what does work.
Yeah. And I've heard Nick Saban talk about this when, you know, they have massive losses all the time, but, you know, what keeps him young in the game is he approaches every year as it's a completely new team. And you kind of start that way in your mind. Jimbo does the same thing. He's cut from that same cloth, and that's his approach now. The thing is in this league, you don't get to take a step back if you want to close the gap on the people that are winning championships in this league.
this kind of score. Not a good start for the Clark Lee era at Vanderbilt. They get beat 23-3 by East Tennessee State tonight. Rattlesnake.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good look. UCLA was beating LSU the last time I saw it too. That's not going to sell well.
No. This Kent State team playing here at Texas A&M. It's a big money game for these guys, and they need it. I mean, they lost a bunch of money last year, almost $5 million. One of the biggest losses in terms of the guaranteed money games. And they'll play 3 FBS schools. Power 5 schools. Did Smith touch it? He may have touched that. That may be a Kent State football.
I didn't think Smith actually touched it, but this is certainly a reviewable play.
Kent State's clearly saying it was touched by Smith, and that's what the discussion is, and it will be Kent State football.
The back judge and the field judge came together, and Smith certainly intended to touch it. And I think it might be the left hand on this bounce, right? It hit him in the...
It came up and looked like it hit him in the face mask.
Put on the field as the kick was touched by the receiving team, recovered by the kicking team.
Oh, no, missed his face. You're right. Left hand on the second, on that bounce.
Yeah, on the bounce, I think it went off of Anissa Smith left thumb. And with a guy that has the playmaking ability like Smith, sometimes you get carried away thinking you can make every play. That would have been a great opportunity to just let it go. It's the right decision anyway, but particularly when you're up 41-10 and it's humid as all get out and this game's in the bag.
Schlee over the middle, slings it. One of our officials hit the deck as that ball sailed into the Cadets. Boy, we have seen some athletic ability from this quarterback.
Yeah.
The redshirt sophomore, Colin Schlee.
Well, he talked about him, Sean Lewis did. He's the future of the program. It's just that you have a guy in Dustin Crum that's ran this offense to perfection sometimes and still has eligibility left. But this young man's impressive.
Inside handoff. Banged it down there into the 2-yard line.
Headed to the fourth quarter, UCLA is still up by 4 now on UCLA.
On LSU.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, LSU. So in Pasadena, that thing will probably come down to the wire.
Bonnet now banged up. They've already lost Kuduk, their best offensive lineman.
And Dave, you talked about that. You don't want to start seeing this for going forward for the rest of your schedule. They still have 2 Power 5 games left. And then obviously they're one of the favorites in their conference.
Well, they've got VMI next, and then it's Iowa and Maryland back-to-back. Schlee trying to spin out of trouble, nowhere to go. On 3rd down and goal from the 1, they will lose 9.
Sometimes the athleticism just absorbs you. Number 5, Turner, does a really good job of setting the edge and allowing the backside of that play to catch up with the quarterback. What's the line on this game? Because is this 3 points going to matter to anybody out there in America?
Yes. Yes, it will.
Bad beats, is that what we're going to experience?
He missed it. Oh my goodness, from 25 yards out. The emotional roller coaster for many watching this game right now.
Well, I don't understand most of that, but I think that made a difference to some people depending on what side of the fence you were on. Am I right in that?
Yes. Depending on what you were looking at, the line was somewhere 29-30, and well, that was an important kick for a lot of folks. Still some time left, 3:18 to go. It looks like we're going to see Zach Calzada come in and play some quarterback now. Number 10 will make an entrance onto this field for the first time. Didn't play last year. A sophomore out of Sugar Hill, Georgia, Lanier High School. 2019, 12 of 24, 133 yards. Crownover joins him in the backfield. Boy, he has got some kind of arm, does Calzada. I was here and watched him play a couple of games 2 years ago, and he can really sling it.
And I think that's the scouting report. You have the dual threat ability in King, and Calzada is maybe more like Kellen Mond, more of the pocket passer that can just rip it in places.
Texas A&M will hit the road after this one. And they will travel to Colorado.
That's an interesting one, to be honest with you. At altitude against a team that played well in their truncated season a year ago.
But doesn't this set up pretty well? I mean, obviously.
Theoretically.
Right. You would think that they could handle business. You never know. Conference games can get a little dicey on you. But you do have kind of the elevator, right? Or maybe the steps leading up to October 9th to try to get your freshmen and your offensive line situated. And you just, I wonder, right? I wonder because so much of this, you know, Jimbo's thrown it out there, right? That he feels like this is the team that can do all this stuff this year. And you just wonder, let's just say it doesn't go well on October 9th.
Yeah.
And you've put so much stock into that game. But you're still, you don't know what's going to happen. Alabama could stub their toe. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's so much focus on that day, October 9th.
Plus, if that's the only time you stub your toe, which obviously the 100,000 sitting here tonight don't want to see happen again. But if that's the only time, that's as good a loss in the committee's eyes eventually that you could possibly have. But that isn't what this is all about. It's all about taking one more step. And if you drop that game October 9th, it's just not closing that gap like you want to see happen right now and going into starting year 4 here tonight with Jimbo Fisher getting paid dearly to ascend that mountain.
Flag comes in the middle of that line of scrimmage.
Holding, number 75 offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
But there's a lot to be sorted out. Obviously, you're breaking in a new quarterback. And the thing that happens in the quarterback room, when you have a starter that's played for the better part of 4 seasons, you have a massive void in experience logistically, and that's what you have now. Eventually you have to turn the page, and that's what we started to see the night with King. It was some really good stuff and then some not so good stuff and then some decent stuff to end it.
First down and 20. Stay on the ground. It's getting a little chippy.
You know, Dave, the difference is, let's take Mac Jones last year coming in for Tua Tagovailoa, but he's surrounded by first-round draft picks everywhere.
Right.
Essentially, everywhere he throws the ball, a guy that's going to get drafted in the first round catches it. He hands it to Najee, that is a first-rounder with the Steelers now, and that's vastly different than what you see here. There's some really good skilled players. We touched on that. The touches you have to build for a menagerie of guys. But the offensive line replacing 4, that doesn't make me feel very comfortable.
Calzada with a nice run. Gain of 13. Get it to the 40-yard line. It'll be third down and about 5 yards coming up now for the Aggies. So if you want to put a bow on this, right? A lot of expectations, 6th-ranked team in the country. Some questions coming in, obviously the O-line, the quarterback, how would that all work? You knew the defense was going to be pretty good despite missing a couple guys. Give me a grade.
Average, a C, just like straight up C, not minus, not plus, just C, and that goes with the quarterback. It goes with his receivers that I think ran poor routes and 2 of his interceptions.
And another interception here. Flag in the middle of the line of scrimmage. Well, Kent State will have the football. I believe that was in the area of holding. We'll wait just a moment. Nico Bolden comes up with that pick.
Holding, number 52, offense. The penalties decline. Result of the play is first down, Kent State.
Aiden Huntington with that pressure, and Calzada, what is he looking at? That's what you have to ask. His right hand is pinned by the pressure. It's a righty rolling to his left. All of those things make the degree of difficulty such that you should have just thrown that ball to that blue section behind the Kent State bench.
First down and 10 with 1:10 to go in this one. A toss sweep coming near side and nowhere to run for Bankman.
Kent State in the meantime, you know, they will go back to the drawing board, and they continue to do what they do. They play fast, and that's essentially their scheme. It's no longer a gimmick in college football, but in order to play fast, you also have to be incredibly efficient, and they just weren't consistently tonight.
They racked up a lot of yards, 595, 303 on the ground.
How many drives did they end up having tonight? Because the new paradigm in college football really has been for a while. Yards are out the window because people run like a track meet from 20 to 20, but how do you do in the score zone, and how many points you get per drive? When your offense is out there, did you do anything? And that's really the measuring stick for offenses in college football today.
Helmet comes off. Schlee is stopped in the backfield.
And Schlee was giving a phantom mesh to a running back that went the wrong way. And so Schlee comes off and adjusts his helmet, and I don't know if we see Crum again or.
Well, I took the timeout so he can.
First charge timeout, Kent State. 30-second timeout. There's no sense any runoff with the helmet coming off due to the timeout.
How about Sean Lewis taking that job, which at Kent State takes a lot of confidence because there's a lot of swimming upriver historically in that program, and he's a young dude. He's the youngest FBS head coach. He's also the tallest at 6'7", a former tight end out of Wisconsin. And then he takes his offense and kind of marries Brett Bielema, Barry Alvarez, Paul Christ, somehow to Dino Babers, which may not be a pretty picture, but the bottom line is it creates an offense that's pretty unique when it's humming.
So Schlee will stay in since Kent State used that timeout. Second down and goal now. They will hand it off the left side and nowhere to run there. Kent State looks like they'll use another timeout. Sean Lewis trying to get one more in the end zone before this night is over.
Second charge timeout, Kent State. 30-second timeout.
You know, Sean Lewis, I saw before the game today.
23 seconds.
It was 100 degrees when we got here.
Yeah.
At 4:30, whenever we got here, and first guy on the field was Sean Lewis, and he was running sprints down the field.
He's a wild man. The players call him Uncle Lou because some of them are only 10 years younger than he
I know,
is.
right?
But I had a hard time with the description because he also likes to play. He likes to game with the guys. So he has what he calls the sticks, the controls, the game controls in his office. Guys come in there and play. But you have the shaved head underneath that hat. You have the beard. That's a cool looking beard, by the way. But the thing I had a hard time with, he also likes skinny jeans. And I don't know what happened there because I don't know why that would fit in a cool guy's wardrobe. But skinny jeans just aren't happening, at least for me.
Yeah, I don't.
You do skinny jeans, Dave?
No. They look skinny no matter what jeans I have on.
On your date night.
Here's Schlee. Sees some room to the left side. He's to the 10 and stop there. It'll be fourth down and goal coming up. They'll spot it around the 7-yard line.
Dallas is going to use his last timeout with about 2 seconds left.
He stops it at 2 seconds.
Third and final timeout, Kent State. 30-second timeout.
Again, I'll go back. This is a big moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, no question. If he throws that kicker back out there, there is a purpose behind it, because Glass needs some confidence, because he had Shankopotamus the last time he rolled out there.
You're right.
And so you want your kicker to have a better taste in his mouth for the next week. But there are a lot of people that 3 points might mean something to them.
Yes.
This could be a bad beats waiting to happen.
Yes.
And it's the second chance at bad beats.
Right.
How often does that
Yes.
happen?
Just when you think you dodged the first one. I think these guys know what's going on here inside Kyle Field. Glass hits the upright. He missed it. A 24-yard miss to end this game.
Mama, the good news, we can pay rent again.
Oh, my goodness.
Glass.
Back-to-back misses for number 60.
He was getting closer, though. That one was dead center on the right upright.
So this one will finish at a 41-10 final score. 8th straight win by double digits, their 9th straight win overall. Going back to last year, and they will get Colorado next week. So a game that saw Texas A&M put up almost 600 yards of offense. They got off to a quick start, slowed down the second quarter, but then found some rhythm, mainly behind this 85-yard interception by Leon O'Neal. They would go on to win this one 41-10 for Kelly Stauffer and Andrea Carter. I'm Dave Neal saying good night from Bryan College Station.